Good morning, Nachum. Shabbos, everybody. Tomorrow we have the privilege of reading Parshas Re'eh. According to the Chinuch, this parsha contains 65 mitzvos, 27 positive and 38 prohibitions. I'd like to focus on one of these mitzvos. Now, interestingly, last week was Parshas Ekev, and Rashi interpreted the first verse to mean those mitzvos that people, forgive me, step on. I hope I'm wrong, but this might be one of them as well. I'd like to speak about the mitzvah of tzedakah, what we commonly call charity. To begin with, you must understand that there is a fundamental difference between charity as understood in ordinary society and tzedakah as defined by the Torah. Charity in the conventional sense is voluntary. You may choose to give, you may choose not to give. But in the Torah, tzedakah is a mitzvah, and the term mitzvah does not merely mean a good deed. A mitzvah is a commandment from heaven. Just as there is a commandment to observe Shabbos and a commandment to keep kosher, there's also a commandment to support those in need. In the 15th chapter of Devarim, in our Parsha of Re'eh, the Torah says, Ki lo yachdal evyon mikerev ha'aretz. For destitute people will not cease to exist within the land. Al kein onochi mitzavcha. Therefore I command you, Pasoach tiftach es yodecha, you shall surely open your hand, le'achicha, to your brother, le'evyoncha bi'artzecha. Notice the language, I command you. Tzedakah is not merely an expression of generosity, it is an obligation. But the Sefer HaChinuch adds something remarkable. In discussing the mitzvah, he begins and writes that it's a mitzvah to act charitably toward the person who needs assistance with gladness and a good heart. B'simcha u'v'tuv levav. Whoa! It's not enough simply to give. I might have thought that this was entirely a result-oriented mitzvah. As long as the needy person or institution receives the money, perhaps the mitzvah has been fulfilled completely. The Sefer HaChinuch, however, teaches us otherwise. An essential part of the mitzvah is how we give, with happiness, graciousness, and goodness of heart. Now, where does this perspective come from? I'd like to suggest that in Parshas Mishpatim, the Torah discusses lending money to another Jew without interest. The Torah says, Im kesef talvi esami, when you lend money to my people, es he'oni imach, to the poor person who is with you. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh asks, why does the Torah add the words, the poor person who is with you? Naturally, if you lend money to someone, that individual is somehow present before you. What are these words teaching us? The Or HaChaim explains a profound idea. On Rosh Hashanah, it is determined who will be wealthy, who will be poor. Mi yosher, mi ani. Why does Hashem not simply give everyone the same amount, or at least give everyone exactly what they need? The answer is contained in the words, Es he'oni imach. That which rightfully belongs to the poor may presently be with you. Why were you given more than you need, while another person has been given less than he needs? The answer is, so that he can come to you and you can fill the gap in his life. In other words, some of what we possess has been entrusted to us by God for use, for the purpose of giving it to someone else. This completely changes the experience of tzedakah. Most people find it hard to exercise. And what's the most difficult exercise? To take your hand and put it in your pocket and take out your money and give it to someone who is completely uninvolved in the process of your getting your money. Why should I give it to him? So the Gemara in Bava Basra 10b relates, 10a, that a Roman philosopher asked Rabbi Akiva, if Hashem loves the poor, why does he, Hashem, not support them? And Rabbi Akiva answered that Hashem gives us the mitzvah of tzedakah in order to save those who have means from the punishment of Gehenna. H-E-L and another L. This is an astonishing answer. The recipient is not merely being helped by the donor. The recipient is giving the donor an opportunity to become a better person and to earn enormous spiritual merit. Picture a familial scene. It's an inconvenient time. It's always inconvenient. Perhaps you're eating dinner, working, helping a child with homework. The doorbell rings, and you send your child to see who is there. The child returns and says, it's a meshulach, collecting money. The immediate temptation may be to say, tell him I'm not home. First, you have just instructed and taught your child to lie. But there's another issue as well. Throughout the day, each of us may have encountered many business opportunities and made many important decisions. How do you know that this opportunity with the needy individual being at your door or one collecting for a worthy institution is not the greatest opportunity you have had all day? Whoa, it's an entirely question of perspective. A baby enters this world, the rabbis teach us, with clenched fists, as though saying, I will acquire, I will conquer, I will possess. However, a person leaves this world with open hands. We take nothing material with us. What remains are our Torah, our mitzvos, and the good that we have done. The truth is that through giving tzedakah, we may be helping ourselves even more than we are helping the recipient. We find this idea in Megillas Rus. Rus and Naomi return to Eretz Yisrael impoverished. Rus goes to gather grain in the field of Boaz. When she returns, in chapter 2, Naomi asks her, in whose field did she gather? Remember, Rus came into the field with 2 empty shopping bags. She leaves the field with 2 full bags. So Rus answers, the name of the man for whom I acted today is Boaz. Now, Shemo Ish, Asher Osisi Imo Hayom, the name of the man that I did for him today. What do you mean? Who did for whom? At first glance, it is Boaz who did for Rus. However, our Chachamim teach us Yoser, more than what the wealthy man does for the poor man, more than that does the poor man do for the donor. What does that mean? Meaning that the poor man has transformed the homeowner into a giver, a no-saying. He provides the donor with the opportunity to perform a mitzvah and to become a more generous and compassionate human being. This is the Torah's perspective on tzedakah. The Torah says, you shall not harden your heart. Lo, sikpots es levavacha. Don't harden your heart. Don't close your hand against your destitute brother. Notice the 2 expressions. Do not harden your heart. Do not close your hand. The Torah is concerned with both the heart and the hand. It is possible for a person to open his hand while keeping his heart tightly closed. He may give the money, but does so coldly, reluctantly, or in a manner that humiliates the recipient. The Torah therefore continues, you shall surely open your hand to him. Opening the hand is not enough. We must also open the heart. The Torah tells us to provide what the person is lacking. We are not necessarily required to make him wealthy, but we must try to the best of our ability to restore his dignity. Sometimes the highest form of tzedakah is not simply giving a donation. It may be helping someone find employment, offering them work, or enabling him to support himself. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Matonas Aniyim that if a person gives tzedakah with an unpleasant expression and in a begrudging manner, even if he gives a significant amount, he loses the full merit of the mitzvah. Wow. The check may be generous, but if the recipient is made to feel ashamed or unwanted, something essential has been lost. The Rambam therefore says that one must give with a pleasant countenance, with joy and a good heart. Years ago, people would say, Oy, schwer zu sein a Yid. It's difficult to be a Jew. Today, Baruch Hashem, many of the external difficulties have changed. There's no shortage of kosher food and other conveniences. But in another sense, it remains demanding to be a Jew. Why? Because the Torah does not merely ask one to give, it asks one to give happily. It asks me to recognize that the person standing before me is not an inconvenience. He is giving me an extraordinary opportunity. It asks me not only to open my wallet, but to open my heart. I will close with the verse with which we began. Ki lo yechdal evyon mikerev haaretz. For destitute people will not cease to exist within the land. At first, this seems like a troubling promise. Why is the Torah telling us that there will always be people in need? Perhaps the answer is that as long as there are people in need, there will continue to be opportunities for kindness, generosity, human connection, and spiritual growth. What a privilege we have. Through giving tzedakah and giving it with happiness, and dignity, and a good heart, we help another person. We transform ourselves, and we earn our portion both in this world and in the world to come. Thank you so much. Shabbat shalom to all.